This tunnel that you see is not an ordinary tunnel, but it is literally the world's largest undersea tunnel. This 50-kilometer-long tunnel, built 250 feet below the sea floor, is the mega project that engineers call the seventh wonder of the world. The main reason for this is its construction. 13,000 workers working together under extreme conditions and excavating a part of the Earth bearing the weight of an entire ocean. Even a small mistake can flood the tunnel and bury both man and machine forever, and that too in a matter of seconds. Welcome back to Kazi TV Videos viewers. About 13,000 years ago, when the last ice age was ending, it separated today's England and Europe from each other. Caused their suppression, this part of the sea, which is now called the English Channel, by the way, this channel is quite wide, but coming to this point, it becomes quite close, and yet England and France are only 33 kilometers away from each other. But these experiments were stopped after many lives were lost because the technology was too limited then. But at the end of the 20th century, when technology was on its way to its peak, it was once again thought of to connect England and France with a land connection. It was the era of the 1980s when it was possible to make the biggest machinery. Yes, the cold water of the English Channel has always given England a heavy hand over its enemies. From Napoleon to Hitler, many of England's enemies planned to capture it. But it was the harsh conditions of the English Channel that kept England's burden always heavy. In World War II, Hitler even launched a secret project to dig an underwater tunnel from the French village of Calais in order to control England, but this project never got off the ground. Well, after the death of Hitler and the Second World War, a lot of changes began to take place in Europe. Business flourished and prosperity flourished everywhere. France and England, once enemies, began to trade through the English Channel. Time passed, and in 1986, these two countries decided to remove this barrier and connect England with Europe. There was a lot of protest on this decision in England because many people were very proud of this island kingdom of England. After several months of long talks, the two countries finally reached an agreement to build a tunnel under the sea, which was named the Channel Tunnel, which is also often called the Eurotunnel. The agreement stipulated that the English and French teams would lose the tunnel from their respective sides, and the two tunnels would connect at the center point. The project looked like a huge failure even before it started. Building a 38-kilometer-long tunnel under the sea was not something that any engineering firm would have dared to do. Finally, it was decided that 10 engineering firms would jointly build the project. Before designing a channel tunnel, it was important to know what traffic would run in the tunnel and where it would start and end. By mutual understanding, it was decided that a total of 3 tunnels would be built, in which the railway loop would run between England and France. It will have one terminal at Gilles in France, while the other terminal will be at Folkestone in England. The total length of the tunnel will be 56 kilometers, of which the undersea part will be 38 kilometers long. After finally starting the construction of the Channel Tunnel in 1986, the biggest problem that the engineering team had to face was the tunnel boring machine, also known as TBM. Because no such project had been made before today, therefore TBM of this particular diameter did not exist. First, this TBM machine would have to be made from scratch. Thousands of miles away in Seattle, Washington, the task of building this particular tunneling machine was entrusted to the Robbins Company, experts in boring machine manufacturing. When completed, this two-wheeled machine will be 800 feet long and weigh 1,500 tons. It will be 50 feet in diameter, with hundreds of tungsten carbide blades mounted on the front and hydraulic legs to propel it forward. A conveyor belt will be installed in the machine itself to take out the soil and broken rock debris, which will take the debris to the service train, and then this train will take the debris out of the tunnel. This tunnel boring machine was a marvel in itself, an ancient technique of blasting tunnels inside mountains. In comparison, this machine was a huge boon for developers, but this new technology also brought with it many risks. even 250 feet below the bottom of the sea, if water leaks from somewhere during boring, its pressure will be so high that he would drown both man and machine in seconds. The survey revealed that there is a layer of chalk under the sea at the England site. That would prevent water leakage into the tunnel, but there are enough cracks in the subsea ground at the France site that this TBM wouldn't work. For this, it was decided to build a new TBM separately, which would be a submarine as well as tunnel boring. It would be able to withstand as much water pressure as World War II submarines. When this machine was developed, it brought with it a new challenge. How to get the machine to do the job 200 feet below the ground, disassembled and brought down piece by piece. It had to be reassembled underground. 2 years have passed since the project started, which took several months and millions of dollars. Excavation work was finally started on both sides in 1988. Disposing off such a large amount of soil and rock debris was a huge task in itself. In a day, this machine was carting 750 square feet of stones, and in just 1 hour, 2,400 tons of debris was being collected. On the English side, this wreck was built into a country park called Samphire Hoe, between Folkestone and Dover under the Shakespeare Cliff. And that's why it's slightly out of Costel line. The debris from the France site was in a sludge farm. An artificial lake was created by putting it into Fonpragyon Valley near Sangate. So much debris was being pumped out of the tunnel. So on the other hand, the material to be carried in was also quite high, as it was very important to seal the loose rock and chalk layer at the same speed as the TBM was boring. Because if the seawater above made its way into the tunnel, then it would be impossible to stop it. This concrete is stronger than the concrete used in nuclear plants. About 750,000 concrete slabs were used in the reinforced steel channel tunnel. A full colour of these slabs weighs 40 tons, which is enough concrete to build 8 Burj Khalifa-sized buildings. They were put on a service train and taken to the tunnel, where a special machine fitted them into place over weeks and then months. The tunnel was slowly growing from both sides, and everyone was waiting for the only thing when these two tunnels would meet. But as easy as it sounds and looks, the task was actually much more complicated, so obviously the two tunnels will never meet each other under the sea. One laser was installed in the English machine and the other in the French machine. Both guidance systems were wirelessly connected to each other. Whenever one of the machines changed its position, the guidance system sent a signal to the main computer to change the position of the head of the boring machine with a hydraulic jack, by which the two tunnels were aligned back to each other. The guidance system was working properly or not. To confirm this, both the machines will be stopped at the distance of the last 100 meters, and then a steel road will be sent to the next side to confirm. The position of both tunnels is not really accurate. After 3 years of continuous boring, the time had finally come when the distance between the beaches became only 100 meters, and according to the plane, a steel road was sent. The position of both tunnels was almost accurate, only there was a difference of 10 inches between them, which is within the permissible limit. Now the engineering team's biggest and toughest test was to get one of the two TBMs to society. Yes, because 2 feet thick concrete slabs had been installed in both tunnels, meaning the diameter of the tunnel was reduced from 50 feet to 46 feet. And the TBM, that is the diameter of the boring machine, was 50 feet. When the work is finished, the 50 feet big machine cannot come back out of the tunnel of 46 feet. So the solution to this problem was that one of the two machines would have to be put out of the way, called the Engineers Mechanical Society. So it was mounted on a TBM in England, its angle was changed to the ground, and it was left there after going down several hundred feet, where it has been buried until today. Now the final moment of construction was near. The French TBM moved forward and finally joined the England tunnel, and after reaching here, the French TBM was disassembled and taken out. Now you may be thinking that England TBM could have been disassembled as well. then why buried it? Originally, the cost of disassembling the boring machine would have been lower than the cost of making the new machine, so the company first looked at which option would give them the least loss. Based on this, it is decided whether to bury it forever or to bring it back out. For the first time in 13,000 years, the land connection between the two countries was going to be made again. They broke the last square lyre with a manual jackhammer and exchanged flags for a media event after being separated by glaciers thousands of years ago. Finally, England and France were now reunited, and it was indeed a great charisma to celebrate. Years of hard work had finally paid off, and the Channel Tunnel was finally opened on May 6, 1994, after the finishing work was completed. If the expenditure on this project is adjusted to today's date, it becomes £12 billion or 1190 billion rupees. 13,000 workers used to work in the Channel Tunnel on the construction pack, while 10 workers were killed accidentally during the work. There are total 3 tunnels in this whole project. A smaller tunnel has been built for 2 trains and is used in emergencies. Today, about 60,000 passengers use this tunnel every day, which includes 4,600 trucks, 140 coaches and 7,300 vehicles, which are parked in the cargo train and made to cross the tunnel. I hope you will also like and share this video of Kazi TV. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next wonderful video.